Hello, my friends, and welcome to the SocraTetris YouTube channel 2018 Year in Review. This is the first year that I'm doing a year-end review, and there are a number of very good reasons for why that's happening. First off, let me give an absolutely heartfelt thank you to everyone who has joined the channel. There are a lot of new people here. The channel has gained 366 subscribers over the past year, which is more than doubled the number of subscribers the channel had. It is significantly more than the channel gained in either the first or second year that the channel existed, that I've been doing this. And even in just the past week, we've essentially gained about 10 subscribers based on a couple drops, some higher end drops that came as YouTube did its yearly purge of inactive accounts, and essentially has put us in a very good position, just because more than ever, I feel like there actually is an audience for the kind of content that I'm creating and the style in which I'm creating it. A lot of people do show up specifically for the Dungeons and Dragons videos, but I do hope that if that is the reason you subscribed, that you'll stay around and see that the rest of what the channel does is also very much interested in gaming and what gaming means to us as a community. Though the focus is usually on video games, a lot of what we talk about does extrapolate to the kinds of stories and experiences that we have at a Dungeons and Dragons table. And a lot of great ideas for games essentially are born from the kind of interactions that people have while role-playing. 2018 has been a real struggle in a lot of different ways for me. To share personally, my way of supporting myself, of having a livelihood over this past year, has essentially been doing rideshare full-time, driving for both Lyft and Uber, and trying to make a living off of that. It was the first time in my life that I was able to support myself and actually pay for a apartment that a few people saw in the blogs that I did, just a couple that I did from that location. If you've been around for a very long time, then you'll know that the current path that I'm attempting is not so much trying to become a YouTuber full-time, but ever since leaving law school, I came to the realization that what I want to be doing with my life in general is to be a teacher, but specifically to teach philosophy, because I still feel like it's missing from a lot of people's lives, that the cooperative nature of idea craft, of understanding the different ideas that are out there and creating new ones and using those ideas to solve problems in our interpersonal life, is still, for the most part, undercut by the far more popular practices of rhetoric and argument, the sort of pursuits that are more focused on in political science, which do have their place, but ultimately, if you only aim at having an adversarial system, if you only practice at convincing someone that you're right and not cooperatively building toward what is closer to the truth, or at the very least, an interesting idea once you have agreed on certain postulates, then you're missing out a big part of the puzzle that helps humans as a species succeed over time. But getting off of my soapbox, this holiday season, I made the decision to go ahead and stop working as a rideshare driver, because while it was able to give me a certain degree of financial success, ultimately what goes into making a slightly more than minimum wage job, which is in the form of self-employment work, is devotion of vast number of hours, significantly more than the 40-hour work week. And it was impacting my ability to pursue my other goals. If you follow the channel's vlogs, you know that I have moved back in with my parents this year in order to take advantage of their kindness and pursue other studies and other parts of the goal of becoming a philosophy teacher. And the first step, which I'll be taking this year, is I will be pursuing, or when I say this year, I mean 2019, I will be pursuing a degree to be a teacher. Not specifically a higher philosophy degree like a bachelor's or a master's, and not teaching anything specifically the way I had thought before, as potentially teaching Japanese or working towards being a translator of Japanese. All of these things are still on the table, but they require their own study in my free time and pursuing that. And I do plan on doing that. But the main focus, the main career drive, which I'll be pursuing in 2019, is getting a teaching degree, a teaching certificate, so that I can use that as a career to essentially act as a stepping stone toward becoming a teacher of philosophy. So what does this all mean for the channel? Really what it means is that hopefully more quality content and more consistent content will be coming out. Now, when I say consistent, I don't mean that there will be more videos each week. I'm not sure I'm able to sustain that sort of workload at the moment yet, given that being a YouTuber full-time is not what I'm doing or what I plan. But I mean more able to reproduce the kind of content on this channel in a consistent way. As I've stated in a previous update vlog, I keep saying that, but it's also true. I plan on having at least one episode of Philos Gaming, the evaluations of video games, one episode of Philos Anime, where I'll talk about Japanese anime, but I will also be doing cartoons as well, because anime is just the shortened for animation, and as much as there are a lot of arguments on the internet about that, I really think I don't need to be a part of those. So, sorry if that made you mad. I will say that there is also the Near Weapon Stories series that will be coming back, as well as a few other projects such as Ghosts in the Shell Without Gaps that I'm trying to work on. And hopefully the plan is that I will be releasing each of these in a more ordered sequence. Another thing that I plan on doing, and I haven't quite decided whether or not I'm going to do this on YouTube or on Twitch, but I thought it would be a good idea to go ahead and start doing live streams, but not gaming live streams the way I was trying to do before. What I mean is the just chatting type of live stream. I guess that's what the genre is called. And mainly what I'll be doing with that is reading the different works on philosophy that I want to be reviewing, and in order to maintain a status of fair use, I'll also be offering commentary on the ideas, the methods, the writings, all of those things, what they personally mean to me, because commentary is part of the fair use law. So we need to have that bit. Whether you just want me to read the book so that you can get the book for free or not, I must comment in order to not be doing something illegal with whatever particular translator's work or author's work that I'm reading. And I think that'll be very interesting, just because it'll be a way to not only use my channel to expose how philosophy is being expressed in video games and different media, but also a way to expose different philosophies, not just through those things, but directly. Because I usually hope that tangential learning will encourage people to see a video, realize that some philosophy is connected to or expressed in the game, and then move to the philosophy to understand it better, and then hopefully replay the game or replay other games with my sort of, or their own sort of philosophical lens in mind. I'm not exactly sure when those are going to get started, but I do hope that you look forward to them. Given that I'm currently in the East Coast, American East Coast, Eastern Standard Time, time zone, hopefully this means that my streaming times will better line up with most people who use these platforms, because while lots of people all around my country use the platforms of YouTube and Twitch, and many people all around the world do as well, Central Time Zone, from back where I was in Nebraska, does not match up with the vast majority of people's schedules. But we'll see how that turns out. Another thing that I would like to do for 2019 is I also hope to reach out to more creators on YouTube's platform who are doing something similar to what I'm doing. And from what I've seen in looking at other people's channels and looking for specifically philosophy-focused channels, is that people who do analysis of anime do not cooperate with each other. They do not interact. They don't talk to each other on their channels for their audience to see. And I have noticed that people who do reviews and analyses of video games tend to do this a little bit more often and form groups, form units of discussion. The focus on cooperation is just not there for a lot of people. I'm not saying that that's a fault. I can completely understand the circumstances that go into the creation of art on this medium that prevent that sort of collaboration. And there are politics about collaboration as well, given that people who create on the platform are often seeing it as a potential future business and want to treat it as such. So this particular prospect of trying to work with more philosophy-oriented analysis channels is not on as strong grounds as I would like, but I did want to put it out there in order to gauge the interest that you all have in me working with some more creators on the platform and mentioning to me who you think would be a good choice. I'm not terribly large enough to catch the eye of the big names in our community, such as the Normal Boots channel, Your Mother's Basements and Giggix and Misty Chronexia. Not quite big enough to catch the eye of Super Eye Patch Wolf or Vatividia. But if you know of smaller creators who would potentially be a little more eager to work with a small timer like me, I would definitely love to know about them and be able to explore their channels for myself. Finally, another thing that I want to have some consistent release of, or at least some future releases of, are the Philos-Fighter vlogs that I was doing. The 1 month MMA training that I did was completely valuable in every sense of the word to me. And as a martial artist, someone who cares about culture but also cares about the physical culture of combat sports, it was a great experience that unfortunately had to end completely flat because I got sick. I got really darn sick just before the last week of the training that was available to me, and had to focus on getting better so that I could actually drive on my trip and not be homeless for a few days while trying to get better. Little things that happen when a sickness happens to come up at the exact same time as the end of your lease. I have been researching different schools to hopefully go and visit. I've also been thinking about different ideas of how to talk about specific aspects of combat sports and what goes into them. But that idea is really up in the air right now. But if you would like to see that, definitely tell me in the comments or message me on Twitter, whatever you wish. But overall, these will be the focuses of the channel coming up. And I have to say, I'm really glad that our little community here, and I do consider us as having a community. There have been a couple false starts, the fiasco of starting a Discord server, then not liking what I was seeing happening with the Discord server almost immediately, even though there were only a few of us there. That's a regret of mine, and I hope to revisit it in the future once I feel like I have enough resources to do it responsibly, to do it in a way that I'm comfortable with. But we do have a community. We have the ability to talk to each other and talk respectfully with goodwill to each other about the ideas that are important to us. And ultimately, that's the most important thing a philosophical community needs: goodwill for each other and the desire to talk about ideas. So with that, I think I'll go ahead and wrap things up before I get far too long in the tooth, which is my habit. As I probably have mentioned before, I completely lack brevity in every bone of my body. Brevity is something that I can't even build as a skill, so I will ramble on forever. I will cut it here and just end by saying thank you again. I hope you have a wonderful end to your holidays, a wonderful New Year's. If you make resolutions, I wish you the best of luck in keeping them. Tell me about them. I'll try to hold you to them as best I can. But this video shows a few of my resolutions, a few of my goals that I'm going forward with, not just for the channel, but also for my personal life in 2019. Chances are that the past year has been terribly frustrating for you, and chances are that next year is going to come with equally as many frustrations. But it's my hope that in supporting each other, remembering our passions and pursuing them, that we can still look back and look forward to each year as something positive. I hope you'll be raising a glass to me as I raise a glass to all of you, and as always, stay true.